actually live streaming. I'm ready when you guys are ready.
Can I ask a question? Is there...
Still reviewing.
Okay.
Thoughts? Thoughts? You did it again.
Beginning with the minutes from October 11th.
There's three sections that are highlighted in yellow that I didn't have the exact particulars of. So I know that those corrections are going to be done. Like that would be the starting time, end time, and the other candidate's full name.
These can be approved tonight.
Are there...
I have objections to the way the minutes are written. They're very inflammatory and leave out a lot of information of what actions versus discussion. They're written very inflammatory.
That's kind of vague. Are you making like a motion to change something? Like what is
I have
inflammatory?
an objection to the way the minutes are written. I'm saying I have an objection.
So how would you like them to be written?
Not asking you.
Is it just the objection that I wrote them?
Nope. But it sounds like you're interjecting your personal dislike of me throughout the entire document.
Where do you see that?
Throughout the document.
Yeah, but where? It's just where? Can
It's
you point say like line 4, section 3?
Yeah, I mean, I just got them. You didn't send them ahead of time, so I'm just digesting
We don't normally
them.
send them ahead of time.
Excuse me, I'm talking. That's a nice example for you.
Pretty much every section.
Well, come on, we can't start with this vague and stuff. Just say what is it? Say line 4, paragraph 3, section 4.
What I was going to ask is, can we put who did the minutes on each one?
Yeah,
and
it says
I
right
see
there.
that he did, so I like that. That's all I want to say.
I make a motion to defer the approval of the 10/11/2023 minutes so that the missing information can be added and that the board can do a more thorough review and I can
Yeah, I'd like to have some discussion. So you both said that the minutes are inaccurate, that they're they're just full of so many inaccuracies. But neither one of you will take the time to say, you know, Chris, paragraph 2, line 3, this is wrong. It's just like back to the flyer. The flyer is all fraudulent, but we're not going to say exactly what is wrong with it. I went through this. This took me a long time. A lot of effort was put into these minutes. A lot of effort. And I watched the video. I transcribed it. I shortened it down so because it's not supposed to be word for word. And then I watched the video again. And then I did a third proof set. So I spent a lot of time putting this together. You just dismiss it and say, oh, it's inflammatory, but won't say exactly what's inflammatory. Just give me one example.
It's general.
Just one example.
You know what? I will, but not tonight. Yeah, I'm going to go through it when I have time.
You can't give the Brookfield, people of
I'm not
Brookfield,
here to argue.
one example.
We're not here to argue. You've made your point.
I'm so glad I spent all that time doing that work.
She just wants to further review it and add some things she feels.
Yeah, but you know what? When I want to further review something or look at the video, it's always a no. It's always a no.
It's not an argument.
It's not an argument. We're in discussion.
Speak, so give her a chance to speak.
I did. So it's not always an argument, but I'm okay with her wanting to review further and add what she feels is missing.
How come that can be a two-way street? How come when I say, well, I want something to review further, it's always no?
We're not going into our personal
Yes,
differences.
it is always no.
No, it's not. All right.
So, all in favor of referring the minutes so that they can be completed by the next meeting?
I'm sorry, what was the end of that motion?
So that they can be completed by the next, there's three, you mentioned 3 sections that are not in there, right?
I mentioned that the time that we started, the exact time that we ended, and the second candidate's name is missing. That's.
We'll defer the review of these minutes until the next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. Yes.
Do you have a motion?
Madam Chairman. Okay. On the first page, it says copies of the template were made available for tenancies and online. I'd like to show to you, each member, including our clerk, that at no time did we call it proposal on my town government. We clearly call it BOH, draft regulations, nuisance trades, and nuisance. The only time it got changed to a proposal was after I sent out the orange flyer. So I think it's going to be confusing to people when we sit there and we call it proposal, or template, excuse me, because it's not a template. Online we call it a draft of regulations, nuisance trades, and nuisance ordinance. So we've been calling that since day 1, as you can see by the handout that I gave you.
I think the wording says proposed.
No, it says copies of the template were available for attendees and available online. So I know that you guys wanted to call it a template after I sent out the orange flyer, but we didn't call it a template from day 1. Back in September 14th, when we posted this online, we called it a BOH draft regulations, nuisance trades, and nuisances 1/3, September 23 PDF. So we've been calling it regulations of a drafted regulations nuisance. We've been calling it a regulation. So, and I know it got changed along the way, but the purpose of meeting minutes is not to rewrite the history. If we call it a nuisance trade proposal or regulation nuisance trade draft, I think that should concur with what's in our meeting minutes, because we can't say that a copy of the template's online when we're calling it something else. Copy of the document would work too. That would work. Just as long as we're not calling. Yeah, I make a motion that we get rid of the word template and either have it say copy of the document or copy of what we're calling it online.
Just
so
make
that
the motion the document.
Madam Chairman, you can't tell me which way to make the motion.
Well, it's getting long and convoluted.
The motions can be long.
It's always been a template
As long as it's
in
not
my head. But, so what's it gonna be?
So I make a motion that we get rid of the word template, and we either change it to, we could do that part on the discussion, either we change it to document, or we change it to what it says on my town government will be uploaded. One or the other.
Make a motion to change the word in the sentence to document on page 1. It's last sentence.
Okay, I'll second that for document.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any other corrections?
Not that I see.
No.
All right, motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This is submitted the 11/8. Minutes. This is the one that we need to update from the last meeting.
The objection was number 8 was missing on that. I went back, reviewed it all, inserted that number 8.
Was it, you said number 8?
It's number 8 on, back page 11/8/23.
Page 2.
It's not attached. But we can
I'll have to attach it.
What are you guys discussing?
I'm asking Pam a question. Am I allowed to do that?
No, you're not. If you're excluding me from the conversation, you're
I'm not.
not.
Okay, can I ask you too?
You can ask the
You
whole
didn't
board.
write it. She did, didn't she, or didn't she write it?
Right, but when you have a private conversation, I'm not allowed to hear. That's not me.
An obscenity.
Okay, that's a word? I don't know. Okay, thank you. It just didn't sound right. All
Yeah,
right. Thank you, Pam.
versus being specific about what was.
Okay, and, okay, sorry.
Instructions?
Yeah, after the scuffle, I made a motion to go into recess. So I'd like to have that included in the minutes.
Where at?
It'd be it was right after the fight.
Okay.
After the police came and
Oh, okay.
the police came in, I said I'd like to make a motion that we go into recess.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did, yes.
Okay, I listened to it on the thing, it did send it.
Yeah, so,
Pam, I called the police before everybody started jumping out.
yeah, that's
Oh,
correct,
you
that's
did?
correct, yeah, yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
So,
'cause that's when I was accused of kicking the dog.
nobody seconded your motion to,
No, it was ignored.
Can we change the spelling of template to TEMPLATE? Anything else? So, motion's made to change, to add the language that Mr. Kellner had made a motion to take a recess, and
to change the where Mr. Telecom, please. Yep.
where Mr. Della called the police, and to just correct the spelling on the template. Second,
Second that.
any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Last one is from December 13th meeting. Are there any corrections to be made?
Yes. Page 4 is typographical error on the second paragraph from the bottom. His name is misspelled.
I'm sorry, where is it?
Above Mr. Fromm, 2 lines above Mr. Fromm.
Which page?
Page 4.
Oh, name.
Yeah, his last name is misspelled. And just to be in conformity to everybody else, we're naming, people their first name and last name, and that person we're only naming his last name. Should we make it all the same?
I didn't know his name.
Okay. No, that's fine. That makes sense.
You can just, Dave or John?
Dave, you can do
Dave,
Dave or
okay.
John, David, whatever you put in there, it's all the same.
So we'll just have you add.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad that was clarified, because I always wondered why. A John and a Dave, never knew. Okay, good, now I know, thank you.
Is that the only correction?
No, there's going to be a correction that I would like to bring to the attention of the body. On page 5, where it says, Mr. Holdcraft thanked the chair. Mr. Holdcraft actually called me a profanity, and I raised a point of order. And this is at the same time that the motion was being made to adjourn. So I would like that to be noted in our minutes. I watched the video 3 times to verify. I actually sent an email requesting that this matter be put on our agenda to be discussed. Because I don't think any board member should be throwing profanities at me.
I'd make a motion to just strike that last sentence.
I was just gonna say that.
What, to strike what last sentence?
Mr. Holdcraft and thank the chair.
Yeah.
Well, no, because that's actually happened.
But you don't
It's
have
not,
to put
it's not
second.
pertinent to
Yeah.
the discussion. We didn't take an action on it, it's not,
I'll second
it's
that.
just irrelevant, really.
Yeah.
I don't think it is irrelevant if we're going to discuss a motion, because it shows that you went through a lengthy set of brand new rules, and you just disregard them blatantly. The way we were speaking outside the normal public comment section. So why not have it in there that that's what he did? And the other thing too is, what are we doing about the profanity he threw at me? I think that should be in the minutes. I think if a member of the public calls one of us a derogatory statement, it should be included in our minutes, just like it was with Mr. Fromm. An obscenity was thrown my way, and I raised a point of order.
I did not observe that myself.
Would you like to defer this so we can review it?
Yeah. If we can defer the minutes.
I'll send Pam a copy of the video.
Okay, so you're gonna send that to Pam?
Yes, I will.
Okay. We'll review these again. Okay. Go on to the next topic. What I wanted to do, but I didn't want to do it 20 minutes ago because there was an outbreak and I thought it would be disrespectful, but I'd like everyone to just take a quick moment of silence for Brittany T. Tonight. It's 1 year since she went missing, and there's still no signs or leads on her whereabouts. So if you could just do that right now. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a job aid. So, give me a second here. It's backwards.
I was wondering,
Yeah, just, it's numbered down the bottom of the page.
So, I reached out a while back to the Berkshire's Public Health Alliance, they call themselves. And they have a very large coalition regionalization effort. They have, staff, obviously. There's about 20 towns or so that are part of that alliance, and they have developed a lot of helpful documents, job aids and guides that are available on their website. And so I was taking a good look through a lot of those, and I reached out to them and got in touch with the department head as well as the author of the documents, and they said, it's great, feel free to, adapt them any way you wish, and we're happy to allow that. So there was one on there was an organization guide for holding meetings, and it's basically a checklist of the many steps that need to be done, to organize the Massachusetts Board of Health. And so it goes through, sort of the laws, the type of meetings, what to do before the meeting, how to do the meeting agenda during the meeting, holding orderly meetings, doing the meeting minutes, and then after the meeting. And so I just, the only thing I changed from their version was obviously the header to put our town in there. And then the other piece was just, I don't know, in the public comment, having orderly meetings. They had a civil discourse, the old language, but since the Supreme Court ruling earlier in 2023, I just updated it to the statement from that ruling, and so that's the information. It's not something we have to vote on, it's just a little guide that I wanted to share with you guys. I thought it was useful, helpful information, and so that's that.
thanks for, yeah.
Are we allowed to ask questions on this?
Sure, if you would like to.
Well, the first question I want to ask is that you said that this is just going to be, well, let's just get right down to it. It says Town of Brookfield Board of Health Organization Guide meetings. Does this mean that we adopted this?
needs a formal adoption. It's just a guide. I titled it that. If you're making a motion to adopt it, I just created something so that we have something in place to help. As a checklist, I mean, it's just a checklist, so it's not like a.
Well, it looks more like rules to me. So, you know, it says.
Well, they follow the laws that are in place, yeah.
So, I want to make sure that we're being abundantly clear here. Is this going to be what the Board of Health is going to be following from this point on?
For me, I will follow as a chair, you know, as a guide, a checklist to help make sure that we're doing a better job at holding our meetings. I just think it's it's useful. We don't have to adopt it. It's just a document that I think would be just very helpful. I don't like to say, I mean, every year the boards get redone, you know, so I don't know that I want to implement something that is going to be expected as a rule, but I didn't want to leave it as the Berkshire at the top. So I mean, are you objecting to the title or anything? I mean.
No, I want to know exactly where we stand, and I understand what you're saying about future boards, but let's just focus on our board, our body right here. Is this what our body is adapting? Because if it is, then I think it's something.
It's a checklist, so it just goes through the laws. It explains like the differences between discussions and deliberations and meeting purposes. It goes through the statutes. It talks about, you know, determining the type of meeting to be held. So it's just a guide for the person who's organizing meetings, which is me. And so I wanted to share it because I found it very helpful. It's something I will use as a chair to help me go through the steps, you know, and make sure that, you know, we can try to have the most productive meetings possible. I'm in no way expecting other people to use it, but I thought since it's pretty helpful that I'd share it. And so that was my point tonight, was just to share it.
So my takeaway is that this is for better understanding for us to know kind of where you're going to be at leading meetings, and so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically Massachusetts, how all boards in Massachusetts, for boards of health anyway, are organized, and the rules through the open meeting law, and it's just another piece of information, a checklist, literally, just so that administratively we don't, you know, maybe don't have any missteps. Or, I mean, I would have loved to have something like this available to me when I first joined the board.
I think it's just the understanding that we're going to be on.
Well, if we're going to have understanding, I really want to make sure we're understanding stuff, because I'm seeing some things that are raising some major flags. The one that says, like, during the meeting that you can add items to the agenda. I mean, that's a violation of the open meeting law.
No, hold on, where are you?
I believe that was in section 4 during the no, that's section 4 during the meeting. The thing on here, it says you can list a catch-all. That you can make an agenda and include a catch-all item to allow unforeseen items to be added. That's
unforeseen. Yep.
That's
no, unforeseen items are allowed.
Unforeseen items are allowed, but adding a catch-all to our agenda, that's definitely an open meeting law violation.
I don't know how you can say it's a definite meeting law violation. I mean, I've talked to the open meeting law office, and they say that unanticipated or unforeseen things come from the public usually, and there can be. So the open meeting law, of course, you want to have everything posted within 48 hours of the meeting, but sometimes emergency things come up, and so you're supposed to post them as soon as you know. In that case, it doesn't come right out and say like you can't. But the catch-all, I don't see that it says catch-all, but
that's what it says right there.
what page are you on?
before the meeting agenda.
Page 2, okay, thank you.
Shall list all
Page
items
2.
reasonably expected to be discussed, include a catch-all item to allow for unspeed items to be added.
Yeah, and in their templates, they have a section.
Does that mean like any other business? Is
It's
that
any other
another
business,
word
they
for
just
that?
call it, yeah.
Okay.
So here they have their agenda. Yeah, they'll have a call to order, approval of minutes, scheduled hearing. They'll go through like any Board of Health approvals that are required, reports from the health agent, any permits issued. They'll go through policy discussions, old or new, and then public comments. They have a separate section for public comments. Budget review, unforeseen items. It doesn't mean that you're trying to populate that, but they do come up, and it's just a place so that they can come up. And then you schedule a next meeting, and then they list the handouts and then the different things that they need. I vetted this through, and everything jived from the open meeting law. So.
How about number 8, where it says, record all motions, votes, decision outcomes, not who said what, no need to name who made a motion, or
Hold
how.
on, I can't hear you because it's like.
Okay, number 8, meeting minutes.
Yep.
Record all motions and votes, decisions, outcomes, not who said what, no need to name who made a motion, or how the members voted. I mean, that is like, that goes against every legislation in our country. When we watch the Capitol on those public channels, we get to see what our senators voted, how they voted. We're not gonna sit there and tell the people how we
Yeah,
voted.
I probably wouldn't follow, not naming who made a motion. Like, again, this isn't a rule, it was a guide, it's like written by other people, but, you don't have to, you have to record the motion. You should definitely record who made the motion. You don't actually have to say who seconded, and you don't have to, say how each member voted. You can say like we say all in favor, something like that. But I'll stick to doing how I do it. I mean, this was not something I went through every bullet item to change. It's just something that was already prepared. There was one item that I wanted to address because the Supreme Court made a ruling, and so I definitely made sure I edited it for that. But other than that, I didn't change anything in here. And again, it's not to, I'm not trying to adopt anything. And, if they're, I did reach out to MAHB as well to kind of consult with them. I haven't heard back yet. But again, this is not an item to take up for like an adoption. I was handing it out, I thought it was helpful. And if there is something blatantly that's, wrong on it, take note of that. I'll confirm with MAHB, and then, I can update like on my end. But again, it's not like a set of rules.
Did you take something off of here? Because when I went to the Berkshire's website to look at this, I noticed there was some other stuff on here. Did you remove stuff from what they had online?
No, I don't believe so.
Because what I remember they had online is something about us discarding our notes and recordings after the minute meetings have been approved. So. Okay, here it is. Notes and recordings used to create minutes may be. Okay, so.
Where are you?
I'm on page 3 at the very bottom. Notes and recordings used to create minutes may be discarded once the minutes are approved. Draft minutes are subject to public access requests before they are approved. So we're allowed to throw away our notes after the minutes
Yeah,
are
I did
approved?
check that one online with the Public Records Office, and it is in the retention schedule for recordings that are made for meeting minutes. After the minutes are approved, the retention schedule ends for those. So
Okay. So, I mean, that's gonna put us in violation of law anyways. You know that, right? If we follow that procedure, saying that we're gonna get rid of our notes and our recordings, after the minutes have been approved.
She looked it up online on the open meeting law. Didn't you say that?
Yeah, but I'm talking about a different one. I'm talking about, did you get a copy of this?
Yeah.
The new one, about the destruction of new notes and stuff?
I I
It's not new.
got one
I didn't change anything.
letter in my email.
So here's a copy of it right there.
I don't need it, it's okay, thank you.
Okay, then I'll say it for the record. So,
Can I see that? You have a,
yeah. Just so that we're clear, that if we start discarding our notes and our recordings,
no, that's not board business, that's you.
it'd be, right, it would be in violation of Rule 34 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure.
That's a different thing that you're holding up.
Right, I know it's a different thing, but if we're sitting here, we're gonna put it, we're saying,
I'm gonna follow the retention schedule set by the state.
okay, if we do that, and if we start discarding our notes and our recordings, it's duly noted.
I'm not saying I'm starting to do anything, I'm saying this is what the law says.
Okay,
Right, so don't put words in my mouth there.
I'm not putting words in your mouth, I just think it's highly suspicious that I hit
Not
it.
suspicious.
Let me finish, please. That I issued the board with an open meetings, a FOIA request for all the notes and all the recordings, and the state is about to rule on that either tomorrow or Monday. And all of a sudden, we have a new policy that says that they could be discarded.
No. Come back here. Give me that letter again. Handed me, no, the letter that you have.
This one?
Yeah, that one. The one that your fingers are sitting on.
I think that's the. I think you want this one. I think that's one you're looking for. There's two.
January 8th, yep. I made this on January 2nd, so.
Yeah, but my open meeting records, my FOIA request goes beyond this date.
All right, we're getting
This is not so let's just back up a second here. This is not a new rule. I'm trying to say to you, there's no rule. In the public records retention schedule has been around for years. So, I mean, there's nothing different there.
I mean, it says when the chair wishes to continue a discussion or a meeting without reposting it, she can continue the meeting. I mean,
You know what? Go back and do your research and look at it.
I will. I absolutely
I'm not
will.
going to go into like what you say. I mean, it's not.
It just,
There's nothing nefarious here. You can go to the Berkshire website and see it, and you can see when they created it, and you can look at the language there.
I understand,
and
but
if you disagree with it, disagree with it.
here we are again, taking something from a template, okay, that hasn't even discussed with us.
It's a checklist and a guide from our chair, which how to kind of run the meetings, which she has the legal right to do. So that's it. Can we move on, please?
All right, we're gonna move on. All right, so the annual town report. Corrections.
Where do we get that data from when we said that there was 48 cases of COVID-19? Where do we get that data from?
Massachusetts Virology and Epidemiologic Network, MAVEN. Comes to us from the epidemiology, and they work at Leicester Regional Public Health Coalition.
What does the public health nurse from the coalition do for us?
Does like intake, for the MAVEN. So like gets information, receives information on specific cases, it's confidential.
Right.
She can also help with other things set up some of those for the, where they hold the senior center, quote unquote, coffee hours. Any corrections to make?
I don't see any.
Hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Health for 2023.
Second? I'll second. Any further discussion? No?
I have a quick question, because I'm just noticing on the agenda. On item B, it says that it adapted with permission from Berkshire. Does that mean that we did adapt it?
I adapted.
So it has been adapted?
Yeah, I
Okay.
changed the section. You can do your own research and pull it offline and
Okay.
look at what I changed, but like I said, I changed the one section under where the Supreme Court had made a ruling in March of 2023 when this document was created by Berkshire back in 2022. So I just made that one edit to include the outcome of that so that.
Okay. Okay.
Fiscal year 25 budget review. We added in numbers. Fiscal year 25 budget request, and then I added a column just to show the variance from the prior year. And then there are comments, and the comments correspond to each of the account name items. So for the Board of Health salaries, I would like to propose that we reduce the stipend from what it had been raised to in fiscal year 24 and plan to go back to monthly meetings.
Oh, you said you made a motion?
No, I'm just going through it
Oh,
and then
okay.
we can discuss after. Just to explain the numbers to you. For the second one, the Board of Health clerk wages, I calculated based on Pam's salary with the COLA 4%, and then added some hours to that number, given that she has some flexibility with her hours. So that would be covered here and there. For the third line, my eyes, Board of Health agents, this is the big one. Because the state has clarified that Leicester Regional Public Health Coalition is supplemental as a grant, and that each town should still be required to have a health and Title V agent budget available, because they were not supposed to take over 100% of those activities. They definitely do quite a bit. The need to add the budget in, though, is basically canceled out by the fact that the application fees cover the health agent and Title V in that regard. So it wouldn't have an actual impact on taxes, but it's a budget item that we'd have to draw from to pay for those services if we end up needing it. Item number 4, which was the animal inspector, is left at flat stipend. Board of Health Title V administration, that seems to be a carryover, but I included the information with the health agent line to not separate that, because this was like an administrative, and it was only like 500 back in fiscal year 22, so this was for administrative purposes, but we have administrative support from Leicester Regional, so probably not needed. Number 6 is Board of Health expenses, and I left that flat. Number 7 is the transfer station wages. Again, I used the 4% COLA calculation. And the second page of it shows the each transfer station employee, the number of hours that they generally work. The lines didn't show up on the print, so it's a little weird, but and then what would be calculated as their new wage, if the 4% is approved. And then for item 8 is the transfer station well test. That went down $500 based on I got an estimate from the lab on what the testing cost would be for fiscal year 25 through 27, because we'll move to do a 3-year contract this year. But so I use those numbers just for us to be able to budget.
Does George not work?
No, he doesn't. He does some volunteer work, but he left that. And number 9 for the transfer station expenses. Again, this is generally covered through the cost of the stickers, cost of the bags and everything. So we actually bring in the money that is used in the budget here back from the town. But I did a consumer price index of 4% increase based on, I know there was a letter sent a few months ago about like Casella was increasing their cost per ton solid waste removal. We don't know yet what we'll end up with because we have to do the RFP for the solid waste contract that's ending in fiscal year 24. But I added a 4% increase just to try to cover what that potentially could look like. So just to give us a good baseline. And then the number 10 is just removed because this community health program would have been like the nurse, right? So, and that's covered through the grants, so that does not need to be budgeted for. So those were the numbers that I had proposed, and I don't know if anybody else brought them.
For the animal inspector, are they good for whoever we have to hire to inspect him? Is that something?
Not for this.
No, okay.
We would do an unpaid.
Oh.
You could either become me again, I'm trained to do it, and I wouldn't take salary, or he will find somebody to swap with, and they can cover each other, and when they do that, it's just a no cost kind of.
Okay.
So and he was given an extension till February on his inspections, so I did remind him again to put forward a candidate,
Okay.
but in a pinch, I mean, I couldn't just do it again.
Thanks for doing this.
Any thoughts or?
You said at the beginning that you were gonna, that you wanted to get the salaries reduced and that you wanted to go back to monthly. Didn't the town already make a decision that they're doing it yearly?
Oh, it's monthly meetings. We had increased the stipend last year because we went to 2 meetings per month. But I'm gonna suggest that we go back to 1 meeting per month and just put it back to what it was back in fiscal year 23, 22.
Do you know when we're gonna go back to monthly?
It would be in fiscal year 25.
Oh.
Could be, well, that fiscal year 25 starts. I don't know, I think it's for a discussion at another day. I don't wanna introduce it today as a discussion, but I don't think the 2 meetings per month is really working out well.
Can I ask now to put that on next agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So is there anything that we need to do with this then?
We need to decide if we're okay with the numbers, and if we are, then we'll agree, and submitted to the advisory board.
I'm good with it.
I'm good with it.
I'll make
Your
a motion that we approve, proposed fiscal year 2025 budget, that we put together.
Second? I'll second. Any further discussion?
I mean,
All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Aye. Review the document for invitation bids to perform tree work. Scope includes clearing along the solar array at the old landfill site to ensure adequate access for the required gas well testing as part of the DEP permit compliance. So you have this document in front of you. The first page is the legal notice. This is a template that Kelly Robbins provided to use for the town for the bids. And I added the information for the tree work to be done throughout the document.
I looked through it, it looks fine.
The majority of it is all templated, so there's just a little bit where it talks about the tree work. Couple of caveats on the scope to be aware of is that it's not your typical tree work with the coming with the truck and clipping away. I mean, the trees are much smaller. I mean, they're still problematic, but they're not giant trees. They're not along the road. They're in the enclosed area, and they're more like, I'd say, 4 or 5 inches in circumference diameter. So the solar array is sitting on top of the old landfill. The old landfill obviously has a cover to it, so it has to be dealt with very carefully. You can't drive equipment onto it. You can't bring heavy machinery in there. So this is a job really that's manual, like chainsaws, cutting up the wood and carrying it out. And so I adjusted some of the language that was from a previous tree work bid to adjust for that, but left everything else. So, any corrections to make?
I don't see.
The other thing that I just want to point out, the contract term, it's March 30th because under the DEP permit, there's this, I'm not going to remember the type of bird, but there's a bird that nests in the endangered species. People have a rule about, you can't go in there and stuff during a certain time of the year. So, plus we need to do it as soon as possible. And on the back, the colored photo I gave you guys of the site map, there's a highlighted area in green. That's the area that the Atlas Lab company has said needs to be cleared so that they can access it. And the little yellow spots are just the different wellheads and gas monitoring areas. So it's not the whole fenced array area that needs to be done. It's just the part that's highlighted. So.
Okay.
All right.
Can
So.
I probably should have asked ahead, but just a quick question. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Is there any way that Pam could get, like, once, people are permitted,
Oh.
lesser?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the tree.
Oh, no.
No, can we wait for a
Yeah,
second, please? So for the invitation of bidders, this legal notice will have to go out in the paper, and we have to post this.
That's
Chris, we'll have to post the legal notice and on the website so we can attract bids. That would be like a,
You want me to post it on the website?
Job, or are you asking?
it should be, well, we'll submit it for legal ad,
Yeah.
at least on the paper but also would be good to put it on our page that we're looking for bids. And the information is.
Do you want it on the front page of the town website, or do you want it on our page? Because I believe that you
I think
normally
the
go,
front page of the website's best. Is that Karen?
the front page of the main website of the town, correct?
Yeah.
All right, I will see to it.
All right, so do I hear a motion to approve the invitation to bid document?
I'll make a motion to approve the invitation to the document for the tree work.
Second.
Solar array.
Can you hear a second?
Seconded, yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and so that brings us to public comment.
Before we go into public comment, I'd like to make a motion, if I could, and I put it in writing too, so that we have it on thing. I'd like to make a motion that that I move this body to add an item to the next agenda of our next meeting. And the agenda item I'd like to add is implementing guidelines to address abuse and threats by public during board meetings. The objective is to develop and enforce clear rules addressing incidents of abuse or threats towards board members or attendees by the members of the public, with the intended outcome to create a safer, more respectful environment for the participants of our meetings. Did you get one?
You made a motion, what was your motion?
My motion, well, it's typed out right there, in case I don't have a copy anymore. My motion is that we include an item onto our next agenda, so that we can talk about, can I see one of the copies? So I can, so my motion is that I move this body, that we add an agenda item to our next meeting, so that we can implement, or talk about implementing guidelines to address abuse or threats by the public during board meetings. The objective of this is to develop and enforce clear rules to efficiently manage incidents of abuse or threats directed towards the board members or other attendees by the members of the public, with the intended outcome to create a more safer environment, more respectful, and uphold the integrity of the Board of Health.
That's the whole motion. Well, I think that's a bigger issue than a board. I think you'd have a better time if you took this to the select board or town administrator. I think this is already covered in town policy, but I would take it to her.
Select board has no power over us.
Doesn't matter about the select board having power over us. The select board has the power to make policies for the
They can,
town.
right, they can make all the policies they want. They have no power here. They've already said that a million times. They have no enforcement power over us or what happens in our meetings. So I'm saying that, you know, we have a list of rules, and I'm just saying.
I don't want us to get into the debate of it tonight. So
Sure. That's why I'm saying we just put it on the agenda.
So you don't need to make a motion to ask for an agenda item.
Did we make
I'll
a
take it under consideration.
motion earlier to already
Well, I mean, it's
include
a
this?
point of order. It's not taken under consideration. It's either the motion fails for not having a second, or it gets voted on. There's no, the chair is gonna make an ultimate ruling. So if there's no second on the motion, then it fails.
Okay, I'll second it so we can very quickly discuss.
Sure. Okay, so the motion, thank you. So basically all I wanna do is, for us to put this on the agenda, so next meeting we can talk about possibly having a rule that deals with this issue.
Okay,
That's it.
can I be a part of this discussion?
Absolutely.
Did we make a motion earlier to review this, or no, did we not?
I don't have it.
Because I feel like that would be included in this,
The-
of how we can have orderly meetings.
On the organization checklist that
Yeah.
Maureen.
Well, I introduced
Would that
that
be
to the.
included in that?
It doesn't have to be. You
Being
could.
respectful.
I've provided it to you if you would like to.
Did we?
If you would like to use it during the
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you want to add this to the topic, I would like to get, our next meeting's in 2 weeks. Try to put this on the agenda, but I think I should talk with town council as well.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna, vote no to adding to this, to the agenda. For now.
My vote is yes.
spend our meeting defining what constitutes abuse and threats within the context of our meetings, outline steps for immediate response and handling of such incidences, establishing consequences for those who violate these guidelines. I don't think that's how we can best spend
Those
our
are key
time
points
at
of-
tough meetings. Just be a
That those-
respectful human being.
Okay, well, unfortunately, that doesn't happen, because I was abused and threatened in our last meeting, and that's where this motion comes from.
Okay.
So,
All right, well,
all I'm asking for is to be on the agenda so we can debate it, so we can come up with a
I don't
policy.
want to debate anymore, so I'm voting no.
Wait, clearly,
I'm gonna also vote no, but Chris, I'm gonna
motion fails.
I'm gonna follow up though with, town council on the topic, and if, depending on the outcome of that conversation, at our next meeting, perhaps we can. So I think it's make the agenda, whether it's a motion made or not, so I'll see what happens with my conversation with them.
All right, I got one more motion I'd like to make. I'd like to make a motion that we get a gavel.
What's a, for
A gavel.
banging on the table, what's a gavel?
You got it right. Yeah. Because there's been many times that the point of order has been raised, or there's heated discussion being made, and stuff is getting missed.
Are we discussing?
No, we're not. I made the motion.
You made a motion.
Select board has one.
Oh, here a second.
No, motion fails.
Can I make a motion to ask my question, if that's what I have to say to get what I want to say?
Is it an unanticipated topic, like you have a topic? I think.
Can I
can we
ask
have
to
a-
have it put on the agenda for next time?
Yeah.
It's like legit business.
Yeah.
I would like to get on the agenda if we could somehow have communication with Lester and our clerk to have a list of everybody that's been permitted, whether it's food establishments, food trucks, septic installers.
They're
It would
already
be really
on the agenda
helpful.
for the next meeting.
Okay, perfect.
and
That's all I
so,
wanted to say.
Yeah, so on the next meeting, there should be a report from Lester,
That
and
would
ask
be
them to attend.
fantastic. Yeah.
Like to have them attend these meetings when they do
Some
like the report.
sort of better communication, because I never have an answer when people
Okay,
ask.
it's on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Perfect, awesome, thank you.
Public comment,
You need to sign in. If you didn't sign in, there's a sign-in sheet up here.
There was some wonky thing to do or something.
Anybody attending the meeting has to sign in now.
How's
it's
your
for
gavel?
the clerk. She can do the minutes.
You have to understand, I'm not from Brookfield. I can't spell your name. I don't know where you live. I could refer to you a different way, but that's not nice. Guy with the beard, the pocket.
Chris Gorman,
That's me. Chris Warren,
just a reminder to the board, it's not a dialogue.
32 Pine Lane. I asked last meeting if we were going to reach out, or if we could reach out to the DPW about clearing the trees. Did we ever get a...
So far, no. But I think
No?
so far, no.
Okay. So we can't ask the DPW to clear trees on our own town property?
It's not that we haven't asked.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
We can't debate it with you. We can't even give you an answer tonight.
But I didn't get an answer last time, so
I know.
was coming to ask that same question. And seeing if we're putting it out to bid, it's a good time.
So I'd like to make a motion to put this on the agenda for next meeting, so we can answer his comment for next meeting. Can we make that like a standing motion, a standing thing, if someone asks us a question, that we make a reasonable effort to look into it and get them an answer for the next meeting?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you.
What is it?
I made a motion that we make that a standing policy. If a resident asks us something, that we make a reasonable effort to get their answer for the next meeting. That way that he doesn't have to come here twice.
Yep.
I want one.
What?
I said no one.
All right,
I have a question. I asked a question.
you get to come up with your,
Alright, Sarah Campbell, 26 Central Street. I have a question though about the minutes. So if I ask the question, are you gonna answer? Or do I have to wait?
No.
Right? So my question is, why did Chris do the minutes and not Pam?
there was a meeting before Pam was hired, but that's.
But Pam can
that's a
still
very-
do the minutes. My question is, why
Up to you.
didn't Pam do it?
Thank you.
We'll have an answer for you next meeting. We have a new rule.
Pat Washburn.
I guess my question is why are you trying to make motions, and this goes through the chairman, Chris, why are you trying to make motions to set up guidelines of meeting minutes, or what people can and can't do in punishment? How do you think you're gonna punish somebody if they do something wrong? That's my first question. My second question is, have you ever read Robert's rules? I mean, there are rules about etiquette at meetings, and if you're not following the etiquette at a meeting, then, you know, maybe you should read the book of etiquette. But to make a motion so that everybody has to abide by in your meeting, then they're not subject to that, whether you make the rule or not, or the motion. They're not subject to it. So I don't understand what your reasoning is, why you're trying to do that.
We're not allowed to answer you. I can't, as much as I want to, I can't even talk.
No dialogue. She's just speaking.
No, she's looking at me looking for an answer.
Well, yes, I am looking for an answer.
We're not allowed to respond, I'm sorry.
Maybe you can respond in your propaganda magazine you put out every month.
Sure.
Thank you for your comments.
You.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak?
Oh, you're making a mess.
Yeah, that's me. You know, I didn't realize how important this Board of Health was until I started attending these meetings, what you do and what you don't do. But this board is totally out of control again because of one member, Chris here. Now you want to pass all these gavels and you want to have rules of how to keep the meeting orderly. It's you and it's your friend over there, Dave Farmer, that come in here and cause all these problems. And now you want to do all these new regulations because of you two. And this board is not getting their work done. You got two good other members that want to get work done for this town. Good things. You're very toxic to this board, Chris. You're very toxic to the members of the community. You've admitted to me and you admitted to the courthouse last week. You took me for saying hi to your dog. Of course, it got thrown out. You admitted that you were mentally ill. And you've admitted it in this room here that you were mentally ill. And you're sitting on the health board dictating and making motions and this and that for the townspeople. And you're not even in good condition. You gotta have the dog to keep you stable. Now, today, when I come in and I said, how is your dog doing? You flipped out on me. That just shows your mental state. I don't think you should be on this board. I think you should be honest and resign from the board. Other boards, you are fine. This board, you're not. You're doing nothing but disrupting this board. And they can't get the work done. Should be able to do it in 1 month. Now you gotta have two meetings a month. For what reason? Because constantly fighting. Look at the minutes, how long it took to do the minutes again. This can't go on. They're trying to get work done and you're holding everybody back. And then you want to have a gavel in here. What, to keep you in order? Yeah, should be a big one. So why don't you do the right thing for the community and consider about stepping down from the Board of Health?
Mr. Holdcraft, time.
Thank you.
Let's open meeting up, like,
Is it late to speak?
Still open.
thank you, I appreciate it.
Name down.
I'll sign in after I'm speaking, if you don't mind. So I don't want to reiterate what Dave Holdcraft said. However, I watched the infighting. It's clear you guys don't get along. Chris, you were happy when you got a motion seconded in your favor. Maureen Christine asked for a motion to second approving the agenda. You wouldn't even second that. Like, the tit for tat is ridiculous. And then, Dave's right. You guys are here to serve the public and do public health. Another open meeting violation, all it does is take up the time of the board. It's not doing any good. Cut the crap and just come together, and if you can't, just agree to disagree, but no more crap. It's ridiculous. Just come together and, like, I've watched Maureen, I've met her on many occasions to get different plans. The amount of hours she puts into this board is overwhelming. Chris, I watched her give you the minutes to do. You did them once, and now you did them again. And that's all I've seen you do for the board. I've seen Maureen put countless hours in that, I don't know how many hours a week, but I know it's multiple. Christine, do you do as many as Maureen does?
God, no, she does, I don't even know.
Does Chris do as many as you? Do you do as many as
What
Maureen?
are we doing here? We're debating this right now?
No,
We're not.
that's
I
my
just told
fault,
them
for
not to.
public record, I'm so sorry.
The point is, Chris, just come together and do the right thing and quit the goddamn arguing. That's all. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Okay, do your motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Adjourn at, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:15.
Just so you know, Richard, the entire website, I did all that work.
And I know, Chris, and I applaud you for it. But it hasn't.